first time in my life, I know exactly who I am.
Hey, y'all.
What just happened in this? A lot of things happened in this episode. So we're back to review and recap for you guys. Mayfair Witches, episode 5. I I actually think this is my favorite episode so far. I don't know about you.
It was weird.
It was
That's
it was
that's all I
weird,
got.
intense, and just suspenseful because it was twisty. It was very twisty.
It was very twisty, and there is just a lot to absorb, and then a lot of trying to separate fact from like illusion. Yeah, yeah. I don't. My brain was doing too much, but I guess this is going to be like the format that they stick to when it opens up. We're going to get a little bit of Scotland. Um, we're going to see a little more into Susan's life. So, um, not only is Susan like, well, no, I guess she's a midwife. So, she's doing all of the healing. She's birthing all the babies. And we see her helping one of the locals give birth while the husband is like outside anxiously waiting, looking annoyed and angry and impatient. Um, and as soon as the baby is born, the husband bursts in and he's like, "Tell me it's a boy. Tell me it's a boy." By the way, everyone, just so you know, the man determines the sex of the baby. I just feel like that has to be put out there.
Ignorance is out there for real, but also historical facts. So it's been proven for a minute that the men, y'all sperm,
It's
help
science.
determine. It's
Y'all
all science.
y'all got the different chromosomes. We got this, like, we can't give that extra. But anyway, that's not the point. But always, like, it's always, she gave me a girl when I asked for a boy. No, this is on you. This is always on you. Um, and so the husband is very anxiously like, "Tell me it's a boy. Tell me it's a boy." And Susan holds up the baby and is like, "It's a lusty boy." I don't know what that means. I'm sure it meant something different back in the day. I'm gonna Google it later. Um, but
If I had to guess, it was like a healthy boy. I think
mhm.
that was just another term that they were using for it, but unfortunately, there's other terminology that's used for
It's
lusty, and that just wasn't the right verbiage for baby.
it's taken on a different something.
And considering what we dealing with in this show,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, um the father holds up his lusty baby boy, and we can see that the baby has been born with webbed hands. He's going to be a great swimmer. I don't understand what the beef is. Um, but like, as soon as he sees it, now he's ashamed. This isn't my son. You did this. You cursed him. And Susan is like, I just helped your wife. And like, and then he's like drawing the wife in, like, didn't she give you a whole bunch of herbs and stuff? And she's like, I gave her nutrients. And he's like, and the wife doesn't know what to say. So she's just kind of sitting there like,
I just gave birth. Like,
right.
why are we having this conversation now? I'm trying to, like, maybe feed my baby. I'm trying to hold my baby, like, in the afterbirth. Like, I'm trying to deal with that. Like, what?
Just let me
Can y'all
rest
go
for a
outside with
second.
that?
Right. Um, and so he storms off on some, "This ain't my baby." And then we flash to the next scene where Susan and her daughter, little sister, apprentice, some younger woman is with her, and they're walking through the town. Actually, she's going to give the woman who just gave birth, she's going to bring her some carrots because beta carotene or something helps with abs. Yeah. Um, and she's knocking on the door. Nobody answers, and she's trying to figure out like where is she, because she literally just gave birth like hours ago. She shouldn't be up and out. Um, and then they see like somebody in their little. Did you hear that? Was that just
I didn't. I didn't hear that.
alrighty? She sees somebody like in a little Puritan hat thingy. It's every time I talk about the patriarchy, I don't understand it.
See, Lasher trying to start something, man. We ain't the one.
This So, um, there's this pilgrim dude standing in the middle of the town square, and he is basically saying, "There was a witch. I found her. She was in the woods. She was, asking for demons or something like that." And they pan over, and I do believe it was the woman who gave birth, right?
I got that impression, but I also thought for a minute it was the friend that was that brought her to the clearing where they had that ritual. I wasn't sure if it
Oh,
was her or if it was the mom. I wasn't sure based on how she was looking.
yeah,
It, I mean,
clearly
just because
dead,
yeah, I mean, the husband was there, so that's
and
what makes me think it's her.
yeah. And looking very like half guilty, but then also kind of staring at Susan like this gonna be you. Like it was just kind of a and so Susan basically like snatches up her homie and she's like, let's go, because he's talking craziness. They're gonna think we're witches, not doing that. Um so then we flash to present day. And we once again see Rowan and Sip intertwined with each other, cuddling, canoodling, whispering sweet nothings, and Sip saying, "You know what? I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna go make breakfast." And so we're both sitting there like, "Oh, okay, she's dreaming again." Um, Wait, why is she dreaming? Because in the last episode, they were trying to escape a flaming house, and Cyprian got shanked in the side. So what's happening here? Oh. um, and they do kind of give us like a little flash of his wound, and it looks bad, but it doesn't look terrible. He goes downstairs, he makes the poached eggs and the coffee, and comes back up. Um, and we get into this kind of Groundhog Day situation where it just kind of keeps looping back over, and even though they're talking about different things, it's the same like sweet sharing of stuff, and then I'll make breakfast, and then he goes downstairs, but there's always 12 eggs in the carton. And so, but like each time you can see that he's getting weaker and weaker until finally he comes upstairs and he can kind of barely put the food on the bed. Um, and then Rowan looks at his side and she sees that he is badly injured. And then they're trying to make sense of it. Like, how long have we been here? How did we get here? How did you get stabbed? Um, Put your clothes on. We need to go to the hospital. And so, as they are um, getting ready to go to the hospital, Rowan runs into the bathroom and that she finds the knife that Cyprian was stabbed with, and now she's like, "Did I stab you?" Because the knife is like wrapped up in my belongings, um, and he's like, "No, this is your boy Lasher. Like this is some stuff that he would do." Um, So she's like, "Okay, cool. We're gonna get you to to the hospital." So she snatches him up. They run downstairs. They're getting ready to head out, only they are still stuck in the house, which is what we saw at the end of last episode where she was trying to yank the doors open and it wouldn't work. So then she's like, F this. I'm a doctor. I'll do it myself. Um, Words of every older Black woman everywhere. I'll just do it myself. You can't ask nobody to do nothing for you. So she leaves poor Sips sitting on the bench beside the door as she's running around trying to find the things to help him. Um, she comes back downstairs. She goes upstairs to find the stuff that she needs. She's frantically searching, I guess, for like antibiotic ointment and liquor. And he walks through the door and is like, "Hey, what's the deal? I thought the deal was I'd make breakfast, you'd stay in bed lusting after me. Other lusting, not lusty baby boy." And that's how it was going to go. And so now she's like, "I just saw you dying. How are you up and okay?" And he's like, "What you mean? It's all good. It's not me that was hurt. It's you that's hurt. You bumped your head. You have a concussion. You're hallucinating. Um, lay down, get better." And it works. He kind of convinces her. She gets back in bed. He goes back downstairs, starts doing the breakfast thing, comes back upstairs, starts trying to pour her coffee, and then she realizes he ain't got no gloves on. This man wears gloves for everything. This man wears gloves to like wrap toilet paper around his hand. I don't know if he does or not, but I would imagine.
That's I. Now that we think about, now that you said that, now that you put it out there.
This is how my brain works, Nat. Sorry.
No. My brain would have eventually went there, but I probably would have voiced it like season finale or something. Like it would be just a random thought that I would have probably texted people like, "Wait,
How does he wipe his ass?" Like,
exactly."
um, so then she notices he's not real. He disappears. She gets back on track because by this point he's crawled to the front door. He's trying to like whisper incantations to get the door to open, but he's for sure dying. Um, she runs downstairs with a knife, and I think that was rum. Runs
I
downstairs with a
couldn't
knife.
tell. Yeah, I couldn't tell.
It kind of looked like a
I just knew
Bacardi
it was
bottle.
liquor.
Yeah,
Was it vodka?
it could have been. It was rum or vodka. Um, so um, she is about to she gives him like a swig as a painkiller, and then she tries to like sterilize a napkin to sterilize him, and the knife that she's going to use to cut into his side, I guess, to see why he's bleeding, where he's stabbed. Did it puncture a wound or something? I don't know.
I have a feeling she was trying to make sure there wasn't like an artery that was
Severed.
pricked, so to speak, or a major
Yeah.
artery that would make it even worse, or even just something that makes it not easy to like I guess fix
Yeah.
or do
Yeah.
surgery on. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That makes sense. Um,
And the lighting was off on that too. Like she
the
didn't have
lighting
her
was
cell phone,
bad.
how
Yeah.
you got that flashlight. Yeah, like
Well, they had that little thing on their head that like reflects
yeah.
the light and they can look down. None of that. I don't even know that house had like decent electricity.
Yeah,
But
with a lot of
no, we're keeping everything classic in this house. um, so he's like, "Hey, instead of using the knife, why don't you use your powers? Take a little look-see in there, see what's happening, so you don't have to slice me open even more." Um, and as she like looks in there, she see like whatever she sees, she's like, "This doesn't make any sense." And he's like, "Of course it doesn't make any sense. Your demon ghost spectral boyfriend like does not want me to live, and you're not getting out of here if I'm alive." Um, I think maybe. While Sip is downstairs dying, Like he's laying there, and then all of a sudden he starts seeing. It almost seems like he's like seeing something in the past where he's seeing this guy running in that's like yelling up the stairs, "Come on, we're gonna be late." And he gets up and starts trying to talk to the guy, and the guy, I guess, is trying to ignore him like a regular haunting. But then he's like, "Hey, you're you're like the old me. The job that I have now used to be your job. Did you never make it out of this house?" And that's when the guy turns around and like strikes up a conversation with them of, "Damn, you fell in love with her, huh? That's a mistake." Because you are not finna make it out of this house now. Like it's no good for you.
You got a hater, like a major hater, an entity spirit that's a hater, and so he's gonna do everything in his power to make sure that he is the only male in his women in the Mayfair's lives.
The
Like
only
other
yeah.
than unless you're family, the only way you're gonna survive is if you family.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Like,
bye.
you are not family. We've got
Mm-mm.
a level 10 C blocker here, and we're not gonna let you go. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're
um
just gonna use men as incubators, and that's it. Like that's
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 it.
that's the only no falling in love because I'm the only one that they love.
You provide the seed, and then I will be that kid's daddy. Unless it's a girl, and then I will be her boyfriend too. So that's that's how it goes. Ill. Um, also, while she's upstairs rooting around for stuff, uh, we see Carlotta's sister in the bathtub, kind of rocking back and forth and crying. And I'm like, "Girl, get out the bathtub. Why are you why are you in the tub?" Um, and that's when we realize we're having a sixth sense moment because she was dead the whole time. Who knew? Um, and so she's asking for Carlotta. Uh, she's scared. She's crying. She's like, "Please tell me before I disappear again. This is like dying all over again." Um, but Rowan doesn't have time for all that noise because she's got to go back downstairs and save her man. Um, so as she is trying to save Sip, um, she's like, there's other ways out of here. Actually, I know what he wants. Come on. So, she kind of does that thing of like, "What are you waiting for?" Like, "Fine. Okay. I'll play your stupid game if you just let my little fella friend here." Can't call him a boyfriend because I don't do relationships for more than 3 weeks because that gets way too complicated. Um, "I'll play your game if you just let him go." And that is when Lasher appears, and he kind of whooshes Cyprian away through a wall of some sort, or through the wall. Um, and he's like, "All right, babe, let's do this." Um, and Rowan is like, "Where did Cyprian go?" And he's like, "Where did you want him to go?" "I want him to be home." "Well, then that's where he is." "Is he alive?" "Do you want him to be alive?" "Yes." "Well, then he is." Like, I would fight Lasher.
Well, first off, he wouldn't even be anywhere near the house. Like he would it okay. Lasher would have to be like the entity that really does serve the family. Like no, we're not doing this whole passing the torch thing. State what you want, but get
Mhm.
on.
Right. Seriously. And if you're in service to my family, then I'm gonna need you in here cleaning toilets, washing dishes, scrubbing the floor, but we're not doing this. I'm like, you're supposed to be serving me, but I'm in debt to you and I can't live my life. That's not working. Um, so she basically asks him what he wants, and this man just wants to play dress up. So she puts on her little flapper dress, which was really cute. Um, her whole flapper attire. Lasher has on his vintage tuxedo, and um, then he just kind of starts asking creepy questions, which is odd. I do not even remember. Oh, well, he started asking her like, "What do you want?" And she was like, "I want to get out of here." And he says,
Right. I mean, that's the obvious answer, right? What?
literally been saying this for like the last 45 minutes, sir, but act like you don't hear me. Okay.
Right.
Um,
This is not a conversation opener.
yeah, this is non-negotiable. I want out. I've been running around the house, shaking, doors, trying to open windows, trying to break windows, but apparently y'all got some kind of plexiglass situation here, and that's not happening. Just let me out. Um, and he's like, "No, you don't. You want to dance." And for some reason, she's like, "I mean, yeah, I could dance." So they start dancing, and then he convinces her that she wants cake. Number one, who doesn't want cake? You don't have to be a mind reader to figure that out. I want cake right now. Like, you're a fraud. Uh,
Like, who doesn't want cake at any time during the day and just like live to regret it later? Like, it just always happens that way. We wouldn't mind a slice. Now, it also depends on the type of cake. Now, there are some cakes that I may not eat, so he has to come with the right flavor of cake.
yeah, but he provided all the cakes. Like there was an array of cakes there, and she went straight for the chocolate, which is quite frankly, that's how y'all would get
Obvious.
me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like, I'm like,
Chocolate, carrot. Um, Audience, what cake would you be lured by? What flavor of cake would be like? Okay, I'm staying. Look,
I'm
look. Let
here.
me just get all the cake I want, and I'll stay.
Yeah, carrot cake would not do it for me. I do not believe vegetables should be in cake. It should be illegal.
Mm.
That's not cake. That's just a baked salad, and I don't appreciate people trying to scam me into eating vegetables by putting carrots in my cake. Give me a spice cake, call it a day. Like
Okay,
that's
so
just
if
me.
you did not realize that was carrot cake, would you? I mean, it tastes like cake.
It, I'm sure it depends on the recipe, and I think maybe a lot of the ones that I've had, they have just like maybe if they were like super finely shredded carrots, or maybe if the carrots were like pureed and poured into the batter, but I don't know. They want to do carrots and raisins and walnut. Like there's just all like there's there's more other stuff than there is actual bready cake. And
Okay, the raisins and the walnuts actually give it some extra oomph. Like I don't know, maybe I'm just weird like that. But
de-
go on.
yeah,
We're trying to get out this house.
devil's
See,
devil's food
that's how
cake don't
Lasher
need
gets you.
raisins. This is how
Right
he
now,
gets
this is
you.
how Lasher gets you. We're
Now
talking
we're
about
off
cake,
topic.
right?
Um so yeah, he tries to seduce her with cake. Then he starts tapping into like her old school memories, and she's like, "How did you know about this?" Girl, he's a demon. Like just um
And he knows his family. Just that now that
he
he has access to you, he has access to everything
yeah,
about
he
you.
is fully tapped in. And he starts trying to play off of her emotions, like with like this one core memory of, I guess she came across a dead fox and she wanted to save it, but she couldn't because it was dead and she was probably like 9. Um, but he's like, basically all this man wants is a forever girlfriend. So we could
Is it
always
though?
I feel like it because he's like, "We could have this forever if you just stay here and do this with me, dance, eat cake, kill dead foxes, um, look at the night sky." Um, like, he just wants an eternal mate, but she's kind of like, "No, I I don't wanna do this. No, I don't wanna do this with you anymore." I would like to leave. And so they pop back into reality again, where now we see that Lasher has Carlotta suspended in midair. Is she dead? Is she alive? We don't know. She's just floating. Um, and so, basically she's like, stop this. And he's like, no, because this is what you want. And she's like, this is not what I want. You're just going to keep trying to make me convince me that these are the things that I want. But all of this is what you want. I'm not going to kill Carlotta. That is not my ministry. Um, so, cut it out. And so, then we flash over. We're back at Cyprian's apartment. He is on the floor, still dying, and but home, to Lasher's credit. And his sister is there, so she all of a sudden like hears him making, I'm in pain, I'm dying noises. So she runs out. She sees him on the floor. She wants to call an ambulance, and he's like, number one, you shouldn't be here. Also, this is why we don't give family members keys to our places, because they're gonna drop in.
Okay, well, it's probably a good thing she dropped in, sir, because she was able to make some calls and to your peeps over at Talamasca and help you out and heal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did she make the call, or had he already made the call? Because while they were sitting there, like, we heard a voice in the background saying the door is locked. And then she was like, who is that? And he's like, those are my work people. You need to go hide. And no matter what you see, no matter what you hear, don't come out here, because you're going to
Oh,
get me
I
in
missed that
trouble.
part. I missed
I
that
need this
part.
job. Yeah.
No, no. Well,
So,
someone made the call. Someone let them know what was going on. Fortunately, whether it was
yeah.
him, he had the fortitude, I guess. I guess he had a cell phone with him, which is good.
Lasher
Okay.
sent him home
Wait,
with everything.
right. No, did he call them before he went into the house?
I think he did. I think he had.
So they knew something was off already.
They already knew something was up. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So, and if I had to guess, they must have a tracker on him or something.
I mean, that would make sense, and that would be a very good idea, because
Going
magic.
through walls, disappearing. Yeah.
Magic. So um so the help comes in, his coworkers come in, and the woman who is going to heal him is absolutely sick of the Mayfairs. Like, these heifers take up more time and energy from all of our folk than all other, like, beings with abilities combined. It's always them. Fine, let me do the salt circle, let me say my incantations, let's get this over with.
Stab myself in order to heal my coworker.
Yeah. So while that's happening, we go back to the Mayfair house. At this point, Rowan is still trying to find her way out. Um, she runs back upstairs. She sees this trail of water down the hallway, and now we realize it is dead sister, from the bathtub. So she kind of goes in, and she's like, "Hey, tell me what Carlotta did to stop him." And dead sister is like, "No, it's too late, because you already his girl." So, and she's like, "I'm not." Like, I'm really not. I would really like to stop him. Kind of want to get out of here. Um, and so sis kind of starts, looking up and guiding Rowan with her eyes to this cabinet, where Rowan starts pulling stuff out, because the sister doesn't have she can't grab onto anything. Which, when we think back to the episode where um Poor Delphine was down in the basement, dead. And Carlotta was the one doing all of the dirty work, and the sister was just kind of standing in the background looking. Now we understand why, because she can't touch anything.
Was she dead then?
I feel like she may have been dead then.
Because didn't she show up for the funeral?
Did
Or,
she?
or okay, was she? I feel like she was at least alive until Carlotta decided I'm going to burn this house down.
Maybe Carlotta drowned her, and then was like, I'm gonna burn this house down. Perhaps that's what happened. But I'm kind of wondering, because at the repass, it was either Carlotta or the sister that came up to Rowan and was like, "So sorry that I couldn't be at the service. I was making other preparations." So I don't know if that was that the sister or was that Carlotta?
I don't know anymore.
Okay.
I feel like it's
It's such a web. It's such a web that they have weaved.
It is. Unfortunately, I did not write that down.
Like I remember it being said, but I can't remember which sister said it. And so at some point I'll try to go back and see, but it'll be later.
It'll probably be when the episode airs at this point.
Yeah. Like it will be of no consequence to those of you who are watching now, because you will have already seen it and you'll have the answer, and you can put that in the comments and then be like, y'all need to pay attention. But I promise I wrote notes. I just, yeah. Yeah. So Rowan finds, I guess, Carlotta's journal on how to at least get rid of Lasher temporarily. She sees like the little recipe that she needs. She needs holy water, I don't know, a cup of sugar, 3/4 cup of flour.
She needs to make cake.
Yeah, 11. She needs to make cake, 11 herbs and spices, and all of that is housed in the basement.
Of course it is.
Of course it's housed, right. So the sister leads Rowan to the basement, to the top of the steps of the basement, and points her downstairs like, you can go down there and get it. Listen, from here on out in life, if I go to anybody's house and they're like, you want to check out my basement? You go down the stairs first. If I'm going down there, you first. Because what I'm not going to do is start walking down the basement stairs first. You're still standing at the top. Now I'm locked in there. That doesn't work for me. I've got things to do. But that's what happens to Rowan, because the sister, who for some reason couldn't touch stuff 5 minutes ago, manages to close the door and lock her in there. And so now she's down in this basement and she's looking at, I guess, all of these herbs and stuff that they've been growing in the basement. Lasher pops up and he's like, you see what that is right there? That's a table. That's a table, like an operating table. Not an operating table.
Autopsy.
That's the word. An autopsy table, because your grandma also wanted to be a doctor and they stopped her. So we know that Carlotta just doesn't want women to be smart.
No, or Lasher doesn't want them to leave. It's a twofold thing. It's like they both kind of work together, but with different agendas. Like, what? She's like Carlotta, you were more like Lasher than you really realized, ma'am.
A terrible person. Just the worst. But at this point, Rowan is over it, so she's not listening to all of the stuff that he's saying. She's just trying to gather up whatever she needs to get back upstairs. But as she's like running away, she slips and falls on something like moist on the ground. And as it turns out, that is our dear, poor, departed Delphine.
Justice for Delphine.
Yeah. Just terrible. And so Lasher points out, your girl did this too. See? Like,
who deserves to die?
I'm the demon, but I ain't done none of this. Um, and so Rowan runs back up the stairs. She's sitting there. She's clicking her heels 3 times and saying there's no place like home. And then the door opens so that she can, like, she gets out. And as she gets out, not Rowan, Lasher appears for a second, and then it's just like, because she's like, you just want me to think that I did that, but I know you did that. And he's like, "Ah, whatever." So he disappears again. Um, we go back over to Cyprian's place where this healing ceremony is well underway. This poor healer is like, she's doing her incantations. She's trying to pull the magical infection out of him. This is like a magic bound wound. And um basically the healing process is she ends up taking the injury from him. She takes the injury from him and then she pulls like a full knife out of her side because a wound just magically opens up on her and then she pulls the knife out. Cyprian's better. I'm pretty sure she needs stitches though because she can't just magically heal herself. But, he's in a good place now. So, yay.
Well, I mean, it should be yay because we rooting for the one black folk in this
For the
show.
one black guy left. So as Rowan runs back upstairs, she runs back into the room where Carlotta is still like suspended in midair, and she tells Lasher, put her down. And so, sometimes with wishes and requests, you have to be very specific because he's like, all right. And Carlotta does not delicately, descend down. He just drops her. And drops
I
her.
think in this case there is an exception because
I'm not mad at it at all. She's a horrible human being. He could have flung her through a wall, and I would have been so okay with that. Um, but so, basically Rowan says, I'm not going to kill her because that's not who I am as a person, even though this woman has taken out like 4 people in San Francisco. But sure, hon.
and some birds.
Okay.
And some birds.
And some birds. Sure, Jan. Okay. Because you are a killer. You are a serial murderess. And
He didn't know what she was doing.
all right. After that first man had his aneurysm or whatever, I would have immediately checked myself in somewhere, but she just kept getting mad at people.
Well, her mama wasn't helping, saying that it's all in her head.
Right. It's not real.
You didn't
Yeah.
cause it.
So Rowan tells Lasher, I'm not a killer. I'm going to call the police. I'm going to tell them about what Carlotta did to me. I'm going to tell them about that poor dead black lady down in the basement that didn't deserve any of this. And she can rot in jail. That's where she can die. That's how we're going to handle it. And so, Lasher is like, whatever. All right. So he disappears again. Rowan tries to leave again. Door's still not opening. And Carlotta pops up and she's like, thanks for saving me. Now I'm going to save you. There's another way out. Come on. So they.
We ain't learned our lesson yet.
I mean, she was really chipper and sweet about it.
I mean, unlike earlier when she was just like F y'all and burning stuff.
I'm
What happened to the fire? Questions that need answers. What happened to the fire?
Magic. You're asking questions that you know the answers to that clearly the writers did not think about at this point. They were like, we just need to get here. We're not answering any of these other questions. Magic.
Because there's stuff going on real time, supposedly, but we're all in someone's brain or at least in another dimension. Okay, yeah. Discrepancy. All right, keep going.
Magic. Um,
I'm still gonna say discrepancy.
so Carlotta leads Rowan upstairs. She leads her into this room. She leads her to a balcony that apparently has just been open the whole time. Duh, Rowan.
Super convenient.
Very. Barely an inconvenience. So she they're standing out there and Rowan is like, "Oh, outside, this is cool, but we're on a balcony. How do we get down?" And this is when Carlotta starts making another speech. She starts praying for Rowan and she's like, "Look, girl, listen. You're his now. You're tainted. Ain't no other way that this can go. Lasher already told you, can't no mortal man like keep up with you. So you you should you should just,
Hop on over
yeah,
that balcony and just
just
sacrifice yourself.
yeah. And so that's when Rowan has like the revelation, wait a minute. My grandma didn't she didn't jump herself, did she? And, Carlotta kind of gets this pained look on her face. And it's just in the DNA. It's these Mayfair women are deviants and murderers. Just because she's like, I helped her. I tried to find a way out for her. That didn't work. I could have killed you when you were born, but I didn't. So the least you could do now.
Yeah, my
Excuse
life
me.
has built up to me sacrificing myself. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I ran all around here for. Um,
Yeah,
and
that's why I
so
became a doctor. That's why I was living my best life in San Francisco.
right. Um, and so once again, Rowan, who is not a killer, who will not kill Carlotta, because that is not who she is as a person. I don't know if she gave her a heart attack or a brain aneurysm, a migraine. I don't know what happened, but she did that look. Carlotta was like, and then she fell over the side of the balcony herself, dead. But not Rowan. Rowan didn't do it because she's not a killer. And as soon as Carlotta kicked it, we see Lasher in the background, like, so then he like fades out again. Rowan walks down the stairs and it goes back over to Cyprian sitting on the couch, um, telling his little sister about Talamasca, and because she's like, "Well, I just kind of thought you worked for the CIA or something. I didn't realize it was like a full-fledged ghost hunter society or whatever." Um, but he's like, "Look, you can never tell anybody about this," and she's like, "Nobody would believe me. Don't worry, secret safe with me." Um, and then he's like, "Well, all good. No cuts, no bruises, no scrapes, no scratches. Going to save my woman." So he pops back up and she's like, "Dude, leave her. Leave her alone. All of
You,
these Mayfair women are a problem."
you know how it is when you love your family member, but they in a toxic situation, and it's like, do you not see the writing on the wall? You literally just got stabbed. Like you almost died, and you want to go back to danger. Okay.
Some men just like a certain level of crazy.
Hmm.
It's toxic, but hey.
Uh, okay, but is it really Rowan's fault that she's part of a family that just happens to have this crazy spirit that's just obsessed with keeping the ladies in the family? Like, is that really her fault?
It's not her fault, but it's not his fault either, and he could walk away.
Very true.
'Cause
Although he would need to ask for another assignment. But
yeah,
yeah, he could walk
yeah.
away. He could be like, or he could be like, dude, stuck in the house
Mhm.
as a spirit.
Like, look,
Because
don't
he,
fall in love, don't die here.
and,
Because
yeah.
all I need is to be healed, and then I'd be like, "You want to go for brunch, sis?" Because I'm not going back over there. She gonna have to figure that out. And I will be putting in for reassignment first thing Monday. But
Okay, but low key, he has to. Okay, I'm not gonna go there. Well, I'll wait. I'll wait.
So it flashes back to the Mayfair house. We see Rowan walking to the front door. All of a sudden, it unlocks. She opens it. She walks out, but everything is upside down. Like the whole camera angle is upside down. And now we're trying to figure out, are there going to be Gorgons? Like, is
Is number one gonna pop up? Like, what's up?
right? Is she going to start getting nosebleeds every time she uses her brain power to kill someone? We don't know. But
We don't know.
But
And
as
she's
with,
still in her dress. She
and she's
totally
still in
changed
that
clothes.
flapper dress.
Yep, same flapper dress. The same clothes that she wore that when the house was burning. That's mysteriously gone
Mm-hmm.
because she changed clothes meeting with Asher. That was, I guess, the first date.
This is how he woos them,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. So
That's how we end the
yeah, that's
episode.
how they end the episode. And episode 6, I guess we'll see what other quirky hijinks Susan is up to in 1800 Scotland, and we'll figure out if Rowan went back to Cyprian's house and put on something of this era.
I hope so. Or is Cortland gonna get called? Like what? Is anyone gonna come to the house?
Yeah.
This is a hot mess. Okay, thank you, King. That was a lovely recap that you did. Thorough. It's very thorough.
I be trying.
we definitely got to the nitty gritty. So as I'm watching this episode, it's trippy, first of all, and there's some inconsistencies that it's kind of like, I know what you're trying to go for, but it needs to be a little more clear where you're going. And I think Lasher was very manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
He was counting on the reactions that he saw and therefore moved to the next step. Like that was obviously he was waiting for the sister to F up, for Rowan to F up, to finally be mad enough to kill Carlotta, because he could have let her go at any time. He's playing games, and that is the worst first date that I've ever seen. If you're trying to ruin me, that ain't it.
That's not it. The cake was a good.
Yep, except for the cake.
Not gonna knock that, but other than that, yeah, that was bad. There was a lot of manipulation and gaslighting.
But he did keep his promise by letting Cyprian go. So I will give him that.
There was that. I mean, even that was weird because he's like, so can we just talk about like the perception of a white man gifting a white woman a black man? Like, isn't that what you wanted? Didn't you want to bed him and woo him? Like,
and I'm concerned about how they're approaching this romance. If that's where they're going to go, it's obviously where they're going to go with that. But it just seems like he's already having feelings, but they're not. It's not in reality. Like the conversations that they're having, I want that to be in real time. Like I don't want this to be like part of a scenario or part of a dream. So are they really getting to know each other during these dreams? Or is it just fantasy, but we're not really getting to an actual romance? And that's a concern for me, because that's not fair to the characters, and that's not fair to the audience if they want to see it build up.
yeah.
Like this is it's kind of like I want to root for them, but there's so much stuff happening, and then there's Lasher at the end of the day.
Right.
So, and this is one of the things that I think is what made the book slightly better, because it's kind of like, yeah, you didn't see the actual romance, but you saw the connection because it was already there, and it kind of like progressed from there. And then you have this entity that's trying to like get in the way of something that's already there, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
it does.
So having them start off as not really knowing each other but falling in love, and him trying to circumvent any kind of relationship is different. But I just don't know how realistically they can progress a relationship, especially for all we're getting is dreams. Now, granted,
Yeah.
we're 5 episodes in. I don't know.
Yeah, and they were both there for that last dream, so that's going to be a weird conversation that they have to have in episode 6.
They're going to need to have this conversation. Like, first off, she had her dream. And I think they both probably had the same dream. And now you're in this scenario where you're dying, or one of you is dying. One of you is injured because there was a fire. There was a fire.
Was there not? Like,
I mean, did Carlotta imagine setting stuff on fire? Like, was all this in everyone's head because of how he controls the house? Now I'm wondering.
Yeah, maybe so.
No, but Scipion was outside, but I don't know how involved the magic is before he gets inside the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think he did see, like, it did seem like there was,
and maybe there was. But
child.
that's one of those things where Lasher, like, was just like, and then the fire went away, the pictures came back, Carlotta got like lifted up and suspended animation, and Cyprian and Rowan went to the Bone Zone, and then they made eggs.
No, okay, so and low key. This is why I said I would wait to mention it. So all this is in their head, right? Supposedly. He's gonna have to test it out. He's gonna have to test it out in real life. Like, this is how it's gonna go down.
Yeah, and his sister hugged him. So, I mean, I guess technically maybe it's just his hands that are weird, or
I think it is just his hands, and that's why he wears gloves. But I think if he may be used to touching his sister. I don't know. He didn't have gloves on, did he?
I don't know. I thought he did. He did.
Okay. Despite being, even though he was injured and everything, he still had his gloves, because that's in real life. He would have his gloves.
Yeah.
Okay. Child.
It's a web. It's a convoluted web of deception and baked goods.
Yeah, and this episode was really dark. Because it's at night, but there wasn't too much light. It's very interesting how they filmed this episode.
Yeah, and because they're like
eerie,
trapped in the house that is already like dark and doesn't have great electricity. So, yeah. So hopefully next episode will be lighter. Maybe it takes place outside. Maybe we get to see an awkward about everything that happened in that house conversation. That's what I want to see. I would also really like to see more of the adventures of Susan, the 1800s Scottish medicine woman, because they give us like that short couple of minutes and I'm like, no, I need to see more of what's happening here. So
I know for me, I just want to make sure that she's okay, because homeboy was looking at her like it's a suspect, and he's gonna tell the pilgrim about her, especially what happened with the son.
Yeah,
looking like a fish.
Yeah,
with webbed hands or whatever, or merman or whatever.
Yeah.
So she needs to just move away from that village and just get out of Dodge while she can. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully the next episode we'll see that. And I'm trying to think how it tied into this week's episode. I guess feeling trapped, or just men being men.
Every episode.
I'm sorry. I don't need to be generalizing like that.
Just
but
internalizing. But it. I mean, every episode it's
the men on the show are being misogynistic and gaslighting and manipulative.
yes.
Except for Scythian. Scythian's the only like good dude that we've seen so far that we know is consistently good.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's what it is, and it's probably maybe it's Susan feeling, and I'm going way out on a limb here, feeling like her fate is kind of in the hands of that angry father, because he can go at any moment and be like, she's a witch. The same that Rowan's fate is kind of like it was in Lasher's hands, and he was kind of controlling all of the stuff. Or maybe they were just giving us another peek into what was happening back in the day.
That too. Like it could have been a combination of things. It was just really nice that at least it kind of tied in a little bit better to the episode that we were seeing in present day.
Yeah.
But this one is kind of like not so much, but that's
Yeah.
okay too. I think we're getting like we're starting to get the history and maybe eventually how Lasher latched onto this family. So I'm thinking that's what they're building up to. It's just a matter of getting there.
Yeah. We'll get there.
We'll get there. All right, guys, let us know what you think of this crazy episode. Please tell me that you are like us and Lasher should go somewhere. He is not romantic. That is not how you woo. At least someone like Rowan, especially when first off she doesn't do romance.
Right.
Yes, she is falling for Sip, but that's because he actually treats her decent and she's drawn to him.
And they are trauma bonding.
True, very true. I mean, she did kind of like almost kill him though.
So there's that. Menace.
I just yeah, it is a form of trauma bonding, unfortunately, but he's still better than Lasher. Like he's still not. Yes, he did stalk her. Okay, this is it going well. It was for a job, and because of who her family is. Okay, I feel like in any other circumstance he would leave her alone.
We won't call it stalking. We will call it surveilling, because that's what he was doing for his job at the request of her mother. So.
Yep.
There we go.
There you go.
But also they should not be together. Yeah.
Yeah, we just want the bodyguard.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, guys. So sound off in the comments what you think of this episode. Make predictions as far as like what you want to see happen, what you think is going to happen. And for my book readers, where are we in this? Because
you're like, I'm lost.
No, I'm not. I'm not lost, but I think because of the change as far as the romance between Sip and Rowan, like how is that going to work where we can actually feel that this is something super deep and super that can supersede the pull and the lull that Lasher has. But I think they are doing a good job of playing how manipulative Lasher is, because he was definitely manipulative in the books.
Quite.
So that part, kudos. And like I'm rooting for Sip because I was rooting for his characters in the book too. So you're doing a good job on that too.
Same.
Any other thoughts?
Team Susan, Team Sip.
Yep.
I'm just looking for a few more breadcrumbs.
Yeah, Fooch. Ooh, this family. All right, guys, we'll see y'all next time. Bye. I can get the outro. There it is.
Okay.
Falling off the top of